Hi, scholars. Happy Friday. We are doing lesson 10 together in our packet. And today's lesson is kind of a little bit of arts and crafts as well, which will be really fun. So first, I'm going to show you where to find everything for today. So we are at lesson 10. So when you look for today's problem set, it should have a 5-10, just like this. Today, your application problem says, Kim drew 7 circles. Shanika drew 10 circles. How many fewer circles did Kim draw than Shanika? You have room for Kim, for Shanika, your number, sentence, and your word statement. You guys know the drill for our application problem. After that, you're going to have your problem set page 1, problem set page 2, and over here your homework page for extra work. And it shows you on the back a little help. But what's very important is you need to go on the back of your packet to lesson 10, template 1, and I need you to rip it out of your packet very carefully. Rip this page out, because we're going to be working with this page today. So find that now and rip it out. I already made a little copy for myself. So reminder, it looks like this, and it says lesson 10, template 1 at the top. And I want you to think, what shape is this on here? I know there's stuff inside, but what shape is it? I'm going to give you time to think. It's a circle. I need you to cut your circle out. So I have my scissors right here. And you're going to cut around that dark black line. So I'll show you. You're not going to cut out the black line. You're going to cut around it, so it should still be part of your circle. So I need you to cut this out with me. Doesn't need to be perfect, just the best you can do. And make sure you have these at the bottom. Move that paper over, but keep those. So you have a circle that looks like this. And I want you to be careful, because we're going to need this for the next couple lessons. So it's important you keep it safe. What do you notice about the dotted lines? The dotted lines, see all those dotted lines? What do you notice about those on the circle? I want you to think. What do you notice about these dotted lines? I notice the lines start in the middle at that dot and they go out. I notice that. I've noticed that there's 12 of these dotted lines. I notice that they all look equal. They all look like they're the same length. And it looks like the spaces between them are also equal. And I notice those kind of look like triangles. You see them? I noticed a lot of things about that. All right, we're going to look at the spaces between the lines. Are the parts equal, or are all of the parts different sizes? We're going to looking at yours. We're going to look at the spaces between the lines. Do those look equal? I think all of those parts look equal. We're going to count the parts. We're going to use our finger to trace the edges we count. We'll stretch out the counting numbers as we trace the part. When we get to the next piece, we stop and get ready to say the next number. So I'm going to show you first. We're going to trace the edge. I'm going to use a pencil instead of my finger so it's easier. And we're going to count. I'm going to start up here and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm here. Move my hand. We're at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I counted 12 with all of my spaces. So how many equal parts do we have? We have 12 equal parts. We're going to color in each of the parts, but first we're going to use our pencil to trace the edge. We'll trace the edge with brown, and just as we get to the end of the part or section, we'll put in the number. So you're going to watch me. I don't have a colored pencil that's brown, but I have a marker. If you have a crayon or a marker or a colored pencil, that will work just fine. So I started here. We're here, and we count 1, and I'm going to put, it's hard to do. Oh, here. This will work. So we're going to start here, and I'm going to count. That's a 1, and I put a 1 on the line. 2, and I put a 2 on the line. So you can see I put a 1, and then I put a 2. And I'm going to keep going all the way around. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So now I have all my numbers around my circle. So I want you to make sure you have all of your numbers. So I start at 1 and I go all the way down until I got to 12 up here. Does this look like something you've seen before? Maybe something that we had in our classroom? I want you to think, is this something that you've seen before? And what do you think it is? It's a clock. We have seen this before. So yeah, we're making a clock. How many equal parts are labeled on a clock? How many equal parts did we write on our clock? We can count again. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 equal parts. We're going to color in the 12 parts so that we can see them more easily. So we're going to alternate, which means we're going to switch between yellow and orange so each part stands out. I want you to watch as I start the first one. So you're going to start like we did with when we put our numbers between 12 and 1. And I'm going to draw it or color it in yellow. And then I'll show you what that should look like. Just like that. So then next we're going to switch between. I'm going to get my orange. And then next would be 1 and 2. And I'm going to color that in orange. My markers might run out on me. Got to do this quickly. Then remember, we're going to go back to yellow. Like I said, if you have a crayon or a colored pencil or something else, you can use even pens if you have orange and yellow pens. that's fine, but they just need to be orange and yellow, just like mine. And it doesn't need to be perfect. Just the best you can do, because mine's not perfect at all. I'm going to keep switching. So now I'm between 4 and 5, and that's going to be yellow. Then I'm going to go back to orange. And then back to yellow. I'm almost done, halfway there. Back to orange. I want you to think about all the parts you're coloring in. So maybe count as you're coloring in. Hopefully you'll get the right amount of parts. We went over how many equal parts there are. So it's the number you should get to. Only a few left. Coloring between 9 and 10. Now between 10 and 11. And then my last one between 11 and 12. If you're not done yet, I would pause the video until you get to where I'm at when you're all done coloring so you don't get behind. So your clock should look a little bit like this. But if you think about the clock we see in the classroom, what is this clock missing? Because that's not what a clock looks like. It's missing a part, a very important part. What else does our clock need? We need to think. What does our clock need? Our clock needs those parts we left out. It needs those black things that we see, those little black lines we see on our big clock. And we have those right here. So we're going to cut these out. They're called the clock hands. They're called the clock hands. So the red hand, though, we also see on our big clock in the classroom. The red hand is called the second hand, but we're only going to add the black hands that we see for now. The short one, as you can see, one is longer, one is shorter. So I'm cutting out the longer one, but the shorter one is called the hour hand. It's called the hour hand. And then the longer one is called the minute hand. It's called the minute hand. So on this paper, we're going to cut out that hour and that minute hand, and it says the word right on the hand for us. So first I cut out my minute hand, which is the longer one, and now I'm going to cut out my hour hand. We don't need that paper anymore. So I have my minute and I have my hour hand for us. So what we would have done in school is we would have used a fastener, we call it, to poke these holes in and keep them in there. But I don't have one of those at home. I don't know if you do, but I'm going to use a pencil to make a hole in my hands. Just like this. I'm going to just poke it through. If you have a pencil at home that you can use so that they're in there like that. And then I'm going to also poke a hole in my clock. So then I'm going to use a pencil that's not sharp, actually. That might be too big. We're going to go back to this one. And now we have a clock, and it's easier when it's flat, that you can use. Maybe I can use something. Let's see. What else I got? Because it's fine for you guys to use the pencil, but it's hard for you to see what I'm doing. There we go, with the pencil. So now I have my clock. So we're going to position both hands to be facing the 12. So I have my hour and my minute hand, and they're both facing the 12. This is 12 o'clock. This is 12 o'clock. So at midnight or 12 o'clock every night, that's when we begin a new day. So when both hands are pointing at the 12, that means we're starting a new day at midnight or 12 o'clock. So as each minute goes by, both of the hands in the clock will move. When the minute hand gets back to the top and the hour hand reaches the next number, it means we completed a full hour. So if my minute hand starts to move and it's moving, it moves, and it gets all the way back to the 12. So it's tricky to do it while holding up, but it gets all the way back to the 12. Then it's the next hour. So my minute hand on the 12, and now my hour hand's on the 1. So what time do you think that is? It's 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock because it's on the 1 now, the hour. 1, and the minute hand's on the 12, which is o'clock. So like I said, when we get through a full hour, but no extra minutes have passed, we say o'clock at the end. So what time does this read? 1 o'clock. Good. So now we're going to think about a digital clock. So digital clock is what you see on your phones, what you see on a microwave, on an oven. It's the electronic clock you see. So I'm going to show you on here what that would look like. So when I show you this, we read the hour hand first. 1, there's 0, 0, o'clock. 1, I'll show you what that looks like. 1 o'clock. That's what it shows on our digital clock. Now what time is it? You read the hour first and then the minutes. So what time is it? It's 3 o'clock. That's what it looks like in words. 3 o'clock. And then if I want to show you that on the clock we made, remember we read our hour hand first. My hour hand's on the 3. And my minute hand's on the 12, so it's 3 o'clock. That's what it looks like on this clock. So we're going to move our hands on the clock so that it says 11 o'clock. I'm going to move my hands so it says 11 o'clock. This is very tricky without the fastener like we would have had in school. So now my hour hand's on the 11. My minute hand stays on the 12, so it's 11 o'clock. So to what number is the hour hand pointing? 11. To what number is the minute hand still pointing? 12. What do you think the digital clock looks like when it reads 11 o'clock? The digital clock. It would read 11:00. 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock. Good. So for your problem set today, I know this is kind of a long lesson with our little arts and crafts. I'm going to get back to our problem set. Okay. Where's the pen? So match the clocks that show the same time. So if I'm looking here, my shorter hand is my hour hand, and that's what I read first. 5, and then it's at the 12 hour minute hand, so 5 o'clock. Good, that's what that reads. Now I look, is that 5 o'clock? No. Is that 5 o'clock? Yeah. So I draw the line. Down here, you're going to put the hour hand on this clock so that it reads 3 o'clock. So it already has it. You're just going to redraw the hour hand, the shorter hand, to read 3 o'clock. On the back, you're going to write the time shown on each clock. So I'm going to look at this one. Both of my hands are at the 12. So 12:00, 12 o'clock. The next one, my hour hand's at the 1. My minute hand's at the 0. That's 1 o'clock. You're going to do that for the rest. For your homework page, you're going to match each clock to the time it shows, just like we did for the first problem on the problem set. And if you have any questions on that, on the back, it helps you a little bit more. I hope you do really well and have a good weekend. If you are getting your work done, I really, really encourage you to ask your parents to send me a picture or your guardians to send me a picture so I can see the awesome work you're doing. So keep it up. I know it's hard, but you're all doing great. Bye.